Hello, welcome in. It's me, LB. Welcome to the Untitled Tarot. This is going to be a collective reading for whoever needs it, whoever resonates with it. If it's not your story and it doesn't apply, let it fly. If you know anyone whose story this sounds like, let them know. Today we are going to use a combination of the Tarot of Mystical Moments and the Queen of the Moon Oracle, because we just had that new moon yesterday. We had the Lunar New Year. We're back in eclipse season. It's now Pisces season. It's like we have like a lot of shifts happening like simultaneously, and a lot of what's coming through like my channel lately is about getting back to basics, kind of stepping out of an abundance of like overlapping spiritual systems that can like box us into corners and identities and like confusion, especially when we're only interacting like with those systems or those beliefs or those labels or ideologies from like kind of like a superficial level, and like really kind of stripping away like a lot of the finery of things and getting very much like into the soil and into the roots of our own humanity, of our own spirit, and specifically like of our own stories, because it feels like a lot of this collective, at least, you're ready and like you're kind of in the process of leapfrogging into a new timeline, into a new phase. But I'm seeing like that sticky fly paper, and I see you kind of you almost look like a cross-country runner, like one of those Olympic runners, and they have one of their legs up, right? But the back leg seems to be stuck like on this weird sticky paper, and it has to do with like a gap between the past and the future that you're creating. It's like a gap in understanding. There's like a gap of like misunderstanding like who you are, like an aspect of your story. It's like there's just like something kind of unfinished. Something interesting that happened last week that keeps coming up in my mind is the recycling and garbage people that had come through, and I've never seen them do this, but they missed a can. They missed a recycling bin, and so they actually had to back up and go claim it and put it in the truck and then continue driving forward on their route. And so it feels like, because it keeps coming up in my mind, like it feels like there's like a little message, there's a little like ding in there for us that says like, hey, as we're moving forward, as we're transmuting, as we're, you know, like the Jeffersons moving on up, we think we missed something. I think there is a piece of information. I think there's a part of our story. It feels like there is a knowledge gap. There is something that is missing here, or there is something that is misaligned, or there is something that no longer belongs, right? And that's part of like that stripping away. And so I see some of those energies coming out in the cards today. And what's interesting is they kind of tell, I feel like how people say there's three sides to every story. It feels like I'm getting all three sides. And rarely when I do a storyboard reading and I lay out all the cards and I really read them more visually than in terms of like the suits or the systems, I actually felt guided to pull out like kind of a classic Rider-Waite-Smith, just in case we need to do clarifications with the sun at the bottom of the deck, because there's a particular character, the King of Wands, in this reading, and I'm trying to figure out what he means to you. Like, is he friend? Is he foe? Is he being used as a pawn? That almost seems most likely the case here. But the King of Wands, who or whatever he is, seems to be like a main or primary player for a lot of you in terms, or whoever this is that I'm reading for, girl, in terms of getting you from point A to point B. It's really interesting. And you seem to be a little bit stuck in the middle. Stuck in the middle with you. Now we're starting with the Nine of Pentacles from the Tarot of Mystical Moments deck, and I absolutely love this card. I love this rendition of her. She reminds me of the fruit lady, right? And she has like this cornucopia of fruit, of nourishment, of just this juicy goodness on top of her head. She looks very well taken care of, well rested, refined, comfortable in her energy, just like really gorgeous. And one, I feel like this represents a lot of you kind of, I'm hearing that Madonna song, get into the groove, yeah, you've got to prove your love to me. There's sort of this energy of like feeling good in your skin again. I think there's a lot of like mental work that a lot of you guys are doing, emotional healing that you've been moving through, and it feels like it's starting to set in. For some of you, you might even be working through some like glamour magic, or maybe you're making some changes in your routine, how you take care of yourself, and that is like really paying off in your appearance. I did a tiny channeled message on my Patreon 2 days ago, a couple days ago, and there was something about a lot of you are quite beautiful. Like you have been gifted with sort of like this abundance of beauty, and in a way that is meant to disarm people and make them more receptive to you and your ideas. And like your beauty is really kind of like a weapon or like a tool to be utilized, right? So there's something really interesting about that. I wonder if that message applies to you guys as well, because she definitely feels like really, really lovely and attractive. And I'm hearing ambrosia, but I'm smelling specifically like honeysuckle. So you might be kind of like smelling pollen or honey or honeysuckle, or just like, it's almost like that scent of spring seems to be like coming in and really circulating around you. And here in the Nine of Pentacles, you are communicating with this little bird, which I love that it's this tiny blue bird and it's not like a big falcon or a big hawk that we normally see in the Nine of Pentacles. It's much smaller, but it feels like there is like a sense of familiarity that you have with this bird. And birds are often considered to be divine messengers. So I'm not sure if there is a new energy that's kind of circulating around you that feels really cozy and homey, like just very, very familiar to you, or if this is maybe just like a long-standing guide, or it's like, but there's something about like a bond or a familiarity or a comfort between you and this little bird messenger. There is a messenger around you, whether it is old or new. Kind of feels new though, again, but it's like family. It's like, I've known you my whole life. It's that type of energy, and it's just bringing a lot of comfort in, and it's definitely like changing the frequency for you a bit. This came through a lot in Aquarius's monthly reading for February, Virgo Taurus's reading for February as well on the Patreon. So there seems to be like some new guides just coming in for the collective in general that seem to be helping to anchor in like a new frequency. I believe the last collective reading we did here on YouTube, there was a hangman character that kind of served the same purpose. Now, the card that comes out afterwards is balance. And here we have the image of a crone, card 19. 919. Those might be significant numbers for you. And the card that comes next is the High Priestess. So this is really interesting. One, I'm seeing sort of like a maid, like a maiden, a mother, a crone energy, but the crone seems to be standing in between you and more of this like motherly archetype that's within, because there seems to be kind of a dissonance. There's something about you as the Nine of Pentacles, the maiden, and you as like the High Priestess, this mother archetype, that are not quite in resonance with each other. Like there's a gap here, and it feels like the crone aspect of like your oversoul or your spirit. This could also be like very much of like an intergenerational message. Like this could be literally like the crones, the matriarchs within like your family line, even goddesses if you do goddess worship, anything like that, that are kind of coming in to help do some mentoring with you, to help you kind of embody or close the gap between you and this High Priestess energy. Something that I'm noticing in between these two cards, this kind of maiden and this crony energy, is there's a lot of mirroring going on. Here you have this kind of gorgeous bowl of fruit above the head. Here she has all of these clouds, which kind of gives a bit of a Seven of Cups energy. So Scorpio placements might be significant here. I'm noticing how she has these different moon phases, almost like a, what do they call them? In a bassinet. What do they, oh, I forget what they're called right now. Someone will put it in the comment section. But when a baby's bassinet, how they have those little like carousels, that, God damn it, I can't remember what they're called. But they go around. Here she has these little moon phases, and then here she has these kind of gorgeous like kind of string of earrings going down. This is really lovely. Also, here, right by her womb, like right by her core, she has this beaming, beautiful full moon. And here, in a very similar placement, you have this apple. And an apple is classically a symbol of fertility, of knowledge, and especially like knowledge for the feminine. So there's something interesting here about either like a grandmotherly or like matriarchal figure coming in, either a crone archetype from like within the own oversoul, or even for some of you, because this came through a lot in Aquarius's reading, and we just had that Aquarius new moon solar eclipse, about a future version of yourself kind of looking backwards and like mentoring you, giving you advice, trying to help you, right? It's like when you think back on your 13-year-old self and you're like, right? Because technically, like, there is no real time space. Like, our consciousness can expand in every which way direction. So you kind of have to like pick your player. Could be one, it could be both, it could be all of them, right? But there seems to be like this older feminine energy who's much wiser coming in and trying to communicate some wisdom through the solar plexus about, again, like fertility seems to be significant here. That could be like literally if you're entering into a season, again, where you're moving from more of like a maiden to a literal mother type of energy. This could also be about your creative prowess, the expansion of your magic in a lot of ways. There's something about, I don't know, this Nine of Pentacles that she is very comfortable. Again, she's really blooming and blossoming where she is, and seems like she's really engrossed in this conversation with this bird. But there's something about like, I don't know, I feel like she's not looking around herself. She's not looking behind. She's not even looking like into the future. I don't know. It just feels like she has a little bit of this like sitting duck energy, and she's got like a lot of these like vulnerabilities, these really valuable things, like all of this fruit on her head, this apple in her lap, this gorgeous jewelry that she has. Like, she looks really beautiful. It's like, I don't know, there's something about, again, like the kind of like this sitting duck energy. And so it just feels like this grandmother, inner crone, future self energy is like coming forward. That's like, hey, it's very easy to kind of get clouded. I don't know, like about whatever this juicy energy that you're currently in is, but it's important to remember that you will attract like mosquitoes as well as bees, as well as dragonflies, as well as pollinators. And so there seems to be a bit of a concern about that. But there's something about, as you're continuing your healing, as you're embodying this like new self-concept, as like you're really kind of processing like this inner glow up, this inner ascension, this inner elevation, that your energy, you're emitting, again, like a honeysuckle frequency. It's like you smell good, your energy looks good. And we want that, yes, but we can attract flies and mosquitoes just as we attract birds and bees, right? And so there's something about feeling really good in this new energy that some of you might not be paying attention or being mindful of added protections or boundaries that like might need to also be instilled. And then I'm looking at this little bluebird, I'm like, well, maybe there's a reason why in the other cards it's a hawk, because hawks are scary. They're these apex predators, right? And so there is something, I don't know, there's something here about a protector or a defender, or being more mindful of like boundaries, or even like self-recognition here, because they're showing me the ugly duckling. There might be so many seasons that you were in like a lower self-confidence or self-esteem or self-concept, where you were in seasons of struggling, or didn't feel like you had anything that like anyone would want to take from you, right? So it's like you didn't have a need to protect yourself as much, or you weren't like seeing yourself in a high of a light as you should. That could very much resonate for a lot of you. You weren't like seeing yourself as valuable or something like worthy of protection. And so there's something here about like, well, one, you've always been worthy of protection, but that's changing now. because where, again, like you didn't have as good self-esteem, your self-esteem is improving, where your energy felt like a little weak, and not as powerful, like that's like all of it's changing now. And it kind of reminds me, they're giving me the example of those like 90s and early 2000s like rom-coms where the girl like gets the makeover and she just like feels so good, no longer being like Josie Grossi anymore, right? That she forgets that like there's still mean people out there that will like seek to take from her. They'll take from you when they think that you're like a big nerd. They'll take from you when they think that you're like the belle of the ball. Like people have shadows and egos, and like there is a little drop of darkness, right, in all of us, and that is part of our work as humans, is to kind of fight that off and stay in our light as much as we can. But there's something about, again, just like being a bit of a sitting duck, or not being used to valuing yourself as high as you should, and because of that, boundaries and protections and like maybe discernment is just like a little bit lower than it should be, right? And so again, this inner crow, this grandmother, this future self archetype, wherever it lands for you, maybe it's all of them, is kind of coming in with like this apple kind of at the core to help strengthen the core. That might even be literal. Like some of you guys might be getting like these flashes or feeling guided to do things like core work, crunches, like strengthening, conditioning, stuff like that, to really physically mirror this like physical work that you're doing. Because with the high priestess coming up next, and there's a lot of interesting things about this high priestess, because again, there's like 3 sides to the story that I'm reading. Part of this high priestess, there's sort of okay, like the curtain is about to open, your ships are about to come in, and because of that, it's like you look the part, you feel the part, it's like your alignment is getting like in the right position, but there's like these other things, again, discernment, protection, boundaries, what to say yes to, what to say no to, and again, like even like who to say no to sometimes, because oftentimes when you have just been kind of starved by life and no one's been paying attention to you, when you're not getting the celebration or the support or the love or like anything like that, and all of a sudden it starts to come in. It's like a starving man who's been given a plate of food. Like you just scarf it all down. You just accept all of it, not realizing that like some of the apples might be poisoned, right? Like kind of like Snow White, maybe fairy tales, Disney princesses are coming in for you right now. And so before these ships come in, like we want to make sure that you know how to identify the pirates, I guess, is more so what I want to say. There's also something about this high priestess, as she represents both the intuitive and like this mother archetype of you. In a way, to be honest, it feels like the inner crone is also saying that she feels like sort of like underdeveloped in a way. It's almost like there were certain experiences or certain partnerships, like there were certain things that you were meant to like experience or to have or to be witness to, that was meant to impart like some kind of wisdom onto you, that feels like it didn't occur, like it didn't happen. And so there's also like, I want to say like there's gaps in like your education, or like there's gaps in your wisdom, purely because there were certain things you weren't exposed to or information that wasn't relayed that should have been. And they're saying material world, like there were material world people and experiences that you were meant to have to help create this education. And again, like they were blocked out or like they didn't come in. So there's also something about you being like deeply sensitive and intuitive and like tuned in, but how that expresses itself in the natural world, like again, there's like a gap here. So the inner crone is coming in, because it's like if we just took her out and these ships just came in, it's almost like, again, like you look the part, everything's great, and like your intuition is really strong, and like you have certain magical capacities that are really impressive, but it's like, I don't know, like you tell me what you feel like when you, in the comments, like what you feel when you look at these cards. Like it feels like she's not old enough, or it just feels like, I don't know, like she hasn't been around the block enough times, or again, like there was a dojo she was supposed to like get a workout in and she didn't. Like it just feels to me like there's something missing here. And maybe it's like, again, some of that like practical experience or that lived experience that like the crone has. I've just exposure to more people, to more things. that like she doesn't have. So again, typically we would see like a maiden archetype moving into a queen or a mother archetype, then moving into like a kind of crone or a mage archetype. But we're going a bit out of order here because like that recycling truck, there was something that was not like digested. There was like kind of a wisdom that was not distilled. There was an experience that we did not have in order to like kind of take another brick to place in that bridge. And so the crone seems to be coming forward, whether she's your future self, your great grandmother, an aspect of your oversoul, even a crone mother goddess that maybe like you work with or you're connected with, like the Hecate, right? Feels like she's coming in to like bridge the gap. So something funny in this energy as well is sort of like this kind of old timey type of like energy or preferences coming in. Like I wonder if you are feeling like they're showing me like Metamucil and like oatmeal, and like I'm seeing like ginkgo biloba. I think I'm pronouncing that right, ginkgo biloba, and they're showing me like Golden Girls, and they're showing me like vinyl records, and they're showing me like the 60s. Like they're showing me like kind of like this older media or like more habits or preferences. Always showing me like little, maybe for some of you this is a grandmother, like little tiny glasses that sometimes older people will put liquor in, or like they won't put it in like a full proper wine glass, like they'll put it in like a little tiny baby glass, right? Like a little liquor or like a little wine or like a little, it's something funny like that, that like you might just like be having these preferences. You're like, since when do I have tea and biscuits in the afternoon? You're like, why do I want to listen to, I don't know, Motown, or like, why do I want to listen to like old jazz, or I don't know, I feel like I'm cold in the afternoon now, I need a sweater. It's like almost just like feeling like almost like this grandma energy like overtaking you. You're like, why do I feel like I want to start knitting and taking fiber every day? It's like, it's funny, but sometimes when we have different energies come around us, like they rub off on us a bit. So I see like a little bit of that as well. So maybe there's also something about, I don't know, like it's not enough to be intuitive and tapped in. Like there's also something about like the habits that support long-term stability, or it's like, or healthy habits. Like there's something about that like wants to come through. Now, as we move forward, the High Priestess wants to open this curtain and allow the ship to come in. And the next card that comes out, it is the King of Wands. And so it feels, in a way, when I first look at these cards, that the King of Wands is the ship that's coming in. And here, he's not sitting on a throne. He's not like in a kingdom all on his own. He's like active. He's mobile. He's beating to his own drum. These drums are on fire. It's like he's lighting the place the fuck up. And where is he walking into? He's walking into the long night moon, card number 40, the darkness. This is interesting to me because when I think of the numerology of the court cards, right, if we look at like the end of the suit as the 10, right, we could look at the page as 11, the knight as 12, the queen as 13, which is a very feminine number, and the kings as 14. So 919, 414 might be significant numbers that are coming through for you. And here, there's very like the light is coming to get back everything the darkness stole. There's something about this King of Wands like lighting up a path that was previously blocked off or darkened so it could not be seen. Again, we have like a bit of a like an eclipse energy here. We have a bit of an eclipse energy here. So maybe, again, this is something really significant to eclipse season that like we're moving into now. It could be significant. What also is interesting to me is the darkness card. It falls directly underneath this crone, and it has this rabbit. And rabbits are really classic symbols of witchcraft, of wise women, of the magical feminine. In a lot of old folklore, it was said that like witches were able to like turn into rabbits in order to escape. Rabbits also have this gorgeous energy of fecundity, multiplicity. It's like they multiply, they're fertile, and they have the ability to hide. Now you see them, now you don't, right? Pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Like they have all of this fun folklore and symbolism around magic, right? And it's right underneath this crone here. And so again, like there's something about like a gap or an aspect of like magical education, maybe even for some of you, like I'm hearing it. It's like a radio, like the discernment of spirits. In Christian practices, there's a variety of different mantles and giftings, one of which is the discernment of spirits. That's not just the ability to say, I feel a spirit here. It's the ability to determine this is a human spirit, this is an angel spirit, this is a demonic spirit, this is a masculine spirit, this is a feminine spirit. It's to be able to not just to discern that there is a spirit, this is the Holy Spirit, but to discern what that spirit is, right? If you have ever taken an energy class with me or a tarot class with me or any of my workshops, you might have done like a discernment of spirits workshop where we went through like a personal energy encyclopedia where we got used to feeling and discerning different types of energy and how they interact with the individual field, the individual system, because how a demonic spirit or an angelic spirit or a human ancestral spirit might feel to me in my body and my system might feel different to you in your system. It's like personal palettes, right? What feels warm and spicy and delicious to me might feel too hot for you. And that's oftentimes how we kind of determine that through applicable practice, right? So there is something about that. One, it feels like there is something about this crone that, because she has the full moon and here is like this long dark moon, right? She in a way kind of, I almost feel like has been guarding this path. Almost one, I want to say honestly, to make sure it hasn't been fully illuminated to you before you were ready. It's like, we're not going to give you the keys to the car until like you have your driver's license. And like you've done your, how many hours do they make you do to get your driver's license anymore? I don't remember. I did driver's ed twice. So I don't know, whatever it was, double it. That's how long it took me, right? But there is something about that. Like she, I don't know, and her great presence has almost been like blocking out this path in a way until like the appointed time or like until you were ready or until something, right? Again, this high priestess as well, like here trying to open up the curtain. I wonder if there's even something, honestly, that some of you, your energy is so powerful. Your force of will is so intense. Your ability to manifest is so strong that you almost like have the ability to call things into your experience like before they're actually like intended to land. And so I wonder if sometimes there are blockages, little magic mushrooms that are like thrown in your way because you're so good at like pulling in like a doorway before like you're even really meant to walk through it. So then there has to be like these blocks or like these stops to prevent you from walking through it. Because again, like there might be tools or there might be discernment, there might be something that you need in order to get through that path like safely in one piece, successfully, right, to get to where you want to go. Like, because each path presents its own challenges. And if you aren't, again, like, I don't know, like trained to overcome those challenges, then like you'll get lost on that path. Like there's something really interesting about it. And again, this reading in particular is going to be long. It's also it's very layered here. Like there's a lot of potentials and there's a lot of different storylines and perspectives that want to come through. So again, I trust your discernment to figure out like kind of where you land. Also, with this King of Wands, as he comes through, I almost feel like similar to this bird. Like, I wonder, because he comes out right underneath it. I'm like, is this King of Wands this bird? Like, are you feeling and sensing his energy coming in? Like, even communicating with the King of Wands before he even fully travels from one side of the veil into the other. Almost like how some people will be able to tap into like a lover or a partner or a friend or someone before they come into like their real lived experience. That happened to me. Like I had dreams of my fiance like 2 years before I ever even met him. And when I met him, I knew it was him because of the sound of his voice, because I heard it before in a dream. That's a whole different story for another day, but I wonder if it's something similar to that. And again, maybe he comes through these blue birds, or maybe again, like he passes through the veil and he like appears as like this rabbit. There's something about the King of Wands is able to materialize itself as like a human form, kind of like how angels can. But also maybe sometimes like when they communicate with you in the spirit, they might take on like a bit of this animal form as well, either a bird or a bunny. Like there's something really interesting about this King of Wands. And again, it's like, is he friend? Is he foe? Is he a distraction? Is he the missing link? Is he the key? Like, is it a spirit guide? Is it a partner? It's like, who is the King of Wands? But again, as the High Priestess opens up the curtain and the ship rolls in, the ship seems to be the King of Wands. And as he comes through, he seems to be lighting up, and with this noise, the drum sounds really noisy to me. And this is very quiet and it's dark and there's no one here. It's like the inside of Narnia's closet, like before you open up the door. And he comes in hooting and a hollering and a banging and a drumming, and he's got all of this light, right? And then what happens is then we have the Knight of Pentacles coming out right underneath this High Priestess. Now, this is so interesting to me because it's interesting to me for a lot of things. One, it feels like there's something about, again, this High Priestess archetype from within that she needs, because she's almost like being, I don't want to say like she's demoted, but she's going from being a major arcana to being a minor arcana from a different suit as well. Water and earth are properly paired. They're compatible elements. They're both receptive elements, but they are in different suits. And so there is something here about the High Priestess moving from the major arcana, like moving from the ether and being like put in a place to practice her priestesshood in a way, like in the material realm. But whenever I look at this particular Knight of Pentacles, it's interesting to me because the horse is made out of the same vegetation that's on the ground, which gives me this kind of feeling of like a cloak of invisibility, or traveling by night, or moving like privately, or like in a way that's like hidden or hermited, or like intended to be like not seen by others, which is interesting because again, this High Priestess, like she's big, she's larger than life, she's bold, she's surrounded by these bright red curtains. In fact, she's the one that's pulling the curtain open and closed. Whereas here, like she feels like a much more minor figure in a way. So there could be something significant about that in some of your stories. But it's almost like the King of Wands comes in to light up, because when we look at the Knight of Pentacles, it's not full day, right? Like we have like, this looks like full day to me, but this, it looks like dawn, right? Or dusk, depending on how you look at it. But it's like the light, we still have some night that's present here, but it's just like the dawn is slowly rising. So the the King of Pentacles rolls in to light up, brighten up, turn the volume up on this like long night that's been here, and kind of allows you to start traveling. Like you start to embody more of this High Priestess energy, but you start traveling in a way that's like incognito. And it makes me wonder, I don't know if there's something about this King of Wands that is intentionally making such a ruckus in order to create a distraction to allow you to maybe travel, again, from point A to point B in a way that is more concealed or hidden. Like, because again, your energy, it's... The High Priestess, she's fucking larger than life. But in this Nine of Pentacles, like, you're also larger than life. You're bright, you're sunny, you're attractive. You've got fucking fruit on your head. You got an apple in your lap. You got a lot of, like, eyes on you. And I'm hearing that song, who sings this? I got my mindset on you. I got my mindset on you. The song is coming through. And so there's something about, it's like, I want to say it's not easy for you guys to, like, travel, like, undercover or like low key. Like again, you could be someone that people keep tabs on, that people are paying attention to. Maybe you have always, and maybe you never realized it, but you are definitely now like garnering a lot of attention. It's like, again, I don't know who I'm reading for. Like you could be a literal celebrity, but it feels like a lot of you, like you kind of carry a little bit of like that celebrity spark, like a hometown hero spark. It's like, you just have that je ne sais quoi. You have that something. Like people look at you and they're like, they got something there. So you just like naturally garner a lot of eyes and attention. And in some instances, maybe even like monitoring spirits. Again, stalkers, people keeping tabs on you, whatever it is. And so it's just not easy, it feels like, for you to move from point A to point B, like cleanly, smoothly, privately. And like and because of that, again, it's difficult for you to get actually ever to point B because there's always people like kind of getting in your way. Honestly, this reading makes me thirsty. It's funny too, because when I was getting ready for this reading, typically I like to like get ready for the day, right? And get like ready for the readings, do my hair, do my makeup, you know, whatever. And today I was like, no, I don't feel like it. I was like, I don't feel like putting on makeup. I don't feel like curling my hair. I don't feel like it. I was like, not today. I just want to come on, bare-faced, kind of incognito, and just like deliver the message and just like sit with my people. Like, and so I feel like a lot of like the influence, and again, it feels like that's kind of part of like the crone. I wonder if there's even like, I don't know, some wisdom from the crone of like, and I hear this from women who are older than me, that sometimes like you eventually reach a stage, you reach an age, you stop giving a fuck what people think about you, right? And if, you know, the idea of you being young and fertile and attractive, it's like those days are gone. It's like you're just kind of liberated from other people trying to like covet you. And you have, not that you're still not beautiful and sexual and sensual and powerful and all of these things, but it's like you kind of aged out of that like we want to covet the women type of phase, and you're just more like liberated to go and be and do like what you want, right? There's a sense of, you know, on the other side of that, older women being kind of like ignored and not listened to because, you know, they're not young anymore. But it's like they have all of this sort of wisdom. They have all of this kind of freedom of personal expression and a lot of this like, I don't give a shit what people care about me anymore. I wonder if like there's some of that, like kind of like the power of being invisible, right? When you're young, it feels like a punishment. It feels like a curse. It feels like you're being neglected and ignored. But when you're older, sometimes it might give you a bit of a liberty or freedom, mobility, range of motion that is unexpected. I don't know. I'm not in that phase yet. I'm just learning from women that are older and smarter than me and what I hear from them. But yeah, so there's something interesting about this high priestess and how she trickles down to the 9 of Pentacles and this King of Wands either lighting up the way and maybe lending some kind of magic or some kind of energy or something. Maybe that is like something that bridges the gap, like a piece of information, right? A technique, a tool, something that allows you to travel from point A to point B safely or unencumbered or unbothered, right? That's initially what I feel like when I look at these cards. But again, like there's something funny about this high priestess and this King of Wands as well. Like there's something, and I will talk about this as we get to these bottom final 3 cards. There's something also about this high priestess that inherently I don't kind of trust for whatever reason. And there's something here about whose high priestess is she? Whose high priestess is she? So hear me out. So as the King of Wands is seemingly lighting up the pathway, so that way you as the Knight of Pentacles can finally start traversing down it, you're led to the Page of Pentacles. So you're being led forward into the past. Now, I'm wondering if a lot of you in this 9 of Pentacles energy kind of are being put back in the 8 of Pentacles by this crone. And this, you know, King of Wands is taking the Knight of Pentacles and bringing them back to the Page. Again, the recycling truck. It's like we have to go back a step. We're having trouble moving forward. That means we have to actually go back one card. Excuse you. We have to go back one card and figure out like what we missed. So a lot of you might also be experiencing a little bit of like an arrow moment where you are having to take a step back as like part of the larger dance, or you're like kind of being paused, or you're being reset, or something is dropping out or being kind of stripped away. Again, it's like the stripping of the refinery. What part of this identity, what part of the education, what part of the system, what part of the thing. It's like running through clothes in your closet, like where is the needle in a haystack, right? And bringing you back to this earlier point, I want to say in your development, because you seem to be, again, existing within these suits. You're the 9 of Pentacles, you're the Knight of Pentacles, you're the Page of Pentacles. So maybe you have a heavy earth placements, or this is just an element like you're currently working through. And here in the Page of Pentacles, you are dressed as this little flower, which is interesting to me because here you're traveling again on this like kind of invisible incognito horse, but your dress is also entirely made up of florals. And here you're entirely made up of florals as well. And here you're gardening. You have a watering can on your back. You're light enough to stand on these little leaves. And I'm hearing that song from Sabrina Carpenter. It's an older song. I think it's called Light as a Feather. I feel light as a feather with you off my mind. And she does a little kick, that little thing. And what I'm noticing in this card is she's talking to this little dragonfly. And remember before I was mentioning that like in this beautiful, gorgeous energy that you have, you can attract dragonflies and bumblebees and like all of the butterflies, like these different pollinators, but you can also attract flies and mosquitoes and groundhogs. If you were part of the Patreon last summer, you will know that I have one true enemy in this world, and it is the groundhog that lives in my backyard and ate up all my goddamn cucumbers and my pumpkins. And like there's something significant I want to say for you guys about this younger point in time, whether it is kind of like a more generalized younger in your spiritual journey, but it feels like for a lot of you it's like when you were actually children, and probably equally as charged spiritually, because children are like these beacons of light and healing and love and beauty and spiritual energy, which is why children are some of the most preyed upon, right? That's a big vulture. I know that's right. Part of the most preyed upon like class of human that exists, right? And there's something significant here, but I'm looking at this dragonfly, and right above it is the Knight of Wands, and right above that is, again, you as the Nine of Pentacles with this bird, with this little blue bird. And so my first instinct is to say, or at least to ask, is this King of Wands an energy, a presence that's been with you since you were a child? This fire then all of a sudden starts to look like wings. Do you see how that looks like a wing here? And now I'm thinking about angels of fire. Now I'm thinking about Archangel Michael. Thinking about, again, like a guide, a spiritual protector. And then how, again, that message from the crone earlier about not being fully like protected or discerning, or again, realizing that like maybe you need way more protections than like you thought you needed, right? I know for me, when I started my adult spiritual journey, when I first started doing YouTube, when I first started interacting with like kind of the social spiritual community, I had like my protections up. I used my discernment. I had no fucking idea how much protection, how much discernment, how many boundaries actually were required in order to keep myself safe. And had I known then what I know now through a lot of hard-earned lived experience, I would have tripled my boundaries. I would have tripled the amount of, no, sorry, can't join you on that. Nope, sorry, not coming into that group chat. Like it would have been a totally different experience for me. And there's something significant here about potentially this King of Wands, who or whatever it represents, serving as a pollinator, as a protector, as this spiritual force or energy that has like always been around you, or at least was around you for a significant amount of time. And maybe that is why, if there's a new-ish presence that's around you that you feel like is aiding this new frequency that like you're already embodying, that's why it feels so familiar, because you've known it since you were a child. But this King of Wands, this crone, this high priestess within, is wanting to take note of something that occurred when you were a child in regards to this energy and someone else. Because next the Five of Swords comes out. And here I'm looking, do you see how, again, you have this white flower that's like your outfit here, it's your covering. And then all of a sudden there's this feminine who does not look like you. Actually, she looks a little bit like you, but not quite, right? Not quite the right Alice. Almost like how fraternal twins like look similar, but like they're not quite the same, right? And she is embodying a totally different energy than like you are. Like she's red, her energy looks more, I don't know, she looks older. It's like, I don't know, it's not bright, it's not youthful, it doesn't feel like full of life. Like it feels kind of old and tired, like old wallpaper. Very, very different than like what you're holding on to. She feels like Victorian, and you feel so kind of like modern and joyful here, right? And I see this flower, and it seems like she's plucked it, and she's hiding half of her face. This, oftentimes, when you see figures like hiding half of their face, that for me always indicates like some kind of high priestess energy. Now, again, just because someone is a priestess or a high priestess, it doesn't necessarily mean they're like the priestess of like the most high, right? Like you could be conduits for all different types of energy, right? And so there's something interesting here that then there's like this masculine, like this figure here, and he's all blacked out. Again, similar to like that Seven of Cups energy that we were talking about before. And he looks dry, like wallpaper, and almost like see this hole here? It's like right where his heart would be, and it's been like taken out and kind of stitched up. And what I want to say, do I want to say yet, or do I want to move to the next card? I'm going to move to the next card, and then I'm going to tell you what I want to say. Following this is then the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords is such an interesting card because here we have a feminine, and she looks freaked out. She's more exposed than she wants to be. There's all of these eyes on her. And again, the flower, like part of your covering, part of your protection, was taken, stolen, coveted by some other priestess, some other feminine energy, older, that left you not just literally more exposed, but like spiritually more exposed as well, feeling more vulnerable, feeling more insecure. It's like in magic, we always say, if you banish, you must invoke. So if you were like, there's a funky ass energy in my house, I have to smoke cleanse, I got to get this energy out of my house. Okay, good, got it, great. You're not done. You have to then go in and refill that energy void because you banished an energy. So you just created a void, right? And if you don't fill it with music, fresh incense, love, prayer, like you have to fill it with something that you want. If you don't, that void becomes a vacuum, right? And those vacuums then become portal energies. And that's how that works. Your little magical witch tip for the day. And so there's something about that here. And so what I want to say is, I feel like and again, if you're 45 minutes in, this has to be your reading because there's no way you're stuck with here for 45 minutes if this didn't resonate at some level. But I want to say, at some point when you were a child, there was an older figure, an older, specifically feminine figure. This could have been an aunt, an older cousin, a different grandmother type of energy, who in some way, shape, or form perhaps noticed that you, like everyone else notices, even if they don't say it, that you're a little bit fucking different, that you're a little bit special in a way we can't really define, that you got that little je ne sais quoi, that you are maybe anointed, that maybe there's something special going on with you, that you're destined for something, even if we don't quite know what that is. And again, maybe like that Patreon message, maybe you're quite beautiful, or maybe you have this sense of light or joy, this childlike innocence about you, and you always have, regardless of what horrors you've seen in the world, right? That you just got that little something fucking extra. And maybe, again, this is just the message. Don't take it if it's not yours. But like maybe there's something about this feminine going out of their way. And again, I'm hearing candy from a baby. Like there's something really rotten and vile and not fair because like I think most of you actually were children. Something was plucked from you. Something was taken from you. Whether this was literal, spiritual, magical interference, whether this was some kind of abuse, whatever it was, they noticed that you had that something special, and they plucked it from you. And in that, it blocked off or cut off some of your connection to who or whatever this King of Wands is, which again, in a lot of ways serves as like a divine masculine defender or angel or protector or guide or something like that. This is a friend to you. And I wonder if in some instance, because again, I go back to this High Priestess, on one hand, in one interpretation, this is a part of your own like High Priestess within, but I also feel like, and again, this is a bit of a woo-woo part, but I also feel like it's fucking her. So it kind of is like this copycat energy where I want to say whoever this feminine is was jealous in some way of this King of Wands connection to you. The fact that they protect you, the fact that they guide you, it feels like an energy, almost like, I don't know, the King of Wands rejected them. It's like, we are not aligned to work together. I am not part of your ancestral support. You have to go to a different ancestor. You are not of the light, so I can't help you because I am a spiritual entity of the light. Like there's something like that. Like it wasn't just about you. A lot of it is about you and like the light and your magic and like all of that, but it's also about like who was riding with you. It's the idea of like a girl not just being jealous because like you're pretty and like people like you, but she's also jealous of your boyfriend too. It's like both of it. It's not enough. If he didn't exist, she still wouldn't like your ass. But the fact that you have him too, well, now fuck you twice, right? It's like very much of that energy, but like in a spiritual way. In a spiritual way. Even though for some of you, what is coming through is this might have actually been like a father figure as well. Like maybe, I don't know, this could be like someone was like a first child and then their parents split up and then this was your dad and he stayed with you. Like it could have been something like that, because there is kind of that storyline that's coming through, but there's like a heavy spiritual element here. And so like, again, there's something that was sort of, she took something from you, or there was some kind of interference, or again, some kind of block. And she comes out right underneath, again, the long dark path as well. So there's also something, it's interesting about like a certain path being blocked off, one by someone who didn't want you to obtain it, or didn't want you to walk down it or have it, but also by someone who actually does love you and wants to protect you, also blocking it off until you had the awareness or the skills or the experience to be able to walk down it, knowing that, again, like there was someone in your path. Does that make sense? It's like, I don't want you to walk down this path, so I'm going to block it off. And then this crone being like, I don't want you to walk down this path because there's a fucking tiger on it. And she's going to like eat your face off if you don't even know that she's there. And if you don't have your protector there. And you know what I mean? So it's like, we can get you to walk down this path when the King of Wands comes back in and can basically like escort you down it. Or when this energy is exposed, so you know how to fight it off, or when we get rid of the bitch entirely. Like those are, again, like there's something about threes here, like 3 perspectives, 3 stories, 3 potentialities, like, but that's the only way you're getting down this path. Either you're going to be able to fight her off yourself, you're going to have the escort of the King of Wands, or we're going to get her off it entirely. And until one of those 3 things happens, you're stuck sitting in the 9 of Pentacles and you're not getting to the 10. Period. Right? And so again, that's part of this, like, okay, the High Priest needs to go back down to the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, the 9 of Pentacles, you need to go back to the 8 of Pentacles. Like there's a little more work. There's something we have to unravel. We have to strip away everything else and like get back to the core of the story. And there may be a specific point in history, in your story, in your past, that is currently being brought up for you. And you're like, why does fucking memory I feel you being frustrated, right? Because I feel frustrated. And I feel that energy coming up, but it's like, why does this memory, or why does this point in time keep coming up? Why does the summer of 1998 keep flashing into my mind? It's like, why did that come through? It's like, it's because that was a significant point when this thing was taken, or when like this person got this idea, or when this started happening. And again, with the 9 of Swords here, it left you like exposed, like unprotected. So it's like, again, those experiences, like this King of Wands was intended to help like usher you through like a variety of different experiences. And they're showing me a ladder that was supposed to, one, afford you some kind of mobility, but knowing the right people, being in the right places at the right time. This kind of fucked with that. It also, again, it left you spiritually exposed. So you might have dealt with more interference. You might have been more susceptible to other people's evil eye, witchcraft, anything like that. It could have left you more vulnerable to spiritual warfare, right? Because again, the Knight of Pentacles has this horse that is the vegetation, just like what is underneath. You were meant to like travel through the spiritual realms, like more hidden, in order to get to like your kind of rightful positions and spaces at rightful times. This really fucked with that. Like I look at him, I'm like, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. And even with this 5 of Swords, there's sort of like this copycat energy. It's like, you could put lipstick on a pig. It's that kind of thing. But because they had like a piece of your energy or something like that, or the ability to block you off from something, from the King of Wands, it's like they had the ability to siphon enough of your energy, or they had access to enough of your essence to be able to like redirect certain ships to them that were meant for you. So it also feels like this was someone that was able to take advantage of like opportunities and timelines and like aspects of like story that were intended for you. Like I just felt my ear pop and clear, that were able to like, one, peek into your energy, like keep tabs, keep eyes on you, be able to redirect, because they're a priestess in their own right, be able to like redirect ships into their port and like out of yours. Like there's there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that was going on. And if you ever felt like that was maybe the case, and then you were gaslighting yourself, like, no, that's my ego talking. Who would do that? Like doing that thing, you know, the thing that we do when our intuition tells us something and we're like, no, it couldn't possibly be me. Yeah, maybe you're actually right. Maybe you called that shit correctly the entire fucking time. What's at the top? Yeah, we have snow moon purity. And here, her eyes are covered. It's like being so pure of heart and spirit and intention that like even though the instinct and the intuition is telling you like there's some fuckery afoot, like just feeling like there's no way, like who would possibly do that? Again, I think it's like that Disney, you have like this Disney princess energy like about you. What is this card? The Star. Yeah, like very, look at her up all by herself in a tower. When you wish upon a star. Great. Great. Now I have a headache. All right. I want to figure out how to proceed, but I don't know how. Do I want to stay in these oracle cards? Or do I want to move to the tarot? I want to do both at the same time, but I only have 2 hands. I would like to, I'm going to go in this tarot deck. The Star again. This Aquarius new moon, we just got out of Aquarius season. But this Aquarius new moon eclipse is really significant in this story for you. You may benefit from Aquarius, and then Jesus, the sun is still on the split. It was on the bottom and it's been on the split 3 times now. But now we have the moon as well, both celestial bodies. This almost feels like I'm hearing it's the final countdown. But this almost feels like a I know it's so funny, it's like dolls or like action figures, but it almost feels like there's like this battle that's kind of occurring here. Also, on the Shuffle Man seat, the song that had come out for you was Everything I Wanted, that song by Billie Eilish. I had a dream, but it was actually a cover by J.P. Cooper. So that might be significant. And I noticed that I do have the song paused at 3 minutes and 31 seconds, and the song is 4 minutes and 34 seconds. So again, 919-414-331-434. I feel like it sounds like a phone number. These might be significant numbers for you. I feel like I want to clarify this High Priestess. Yep, and we have the Hangman being stuck, suspended in time. Again, this is a second Pisces energy, so that might be significant in your chart. One of these players, we're in Pisces season now. The Hangman is often a card that can be considered a card of victimhood and like martyrdom, but also sometimes the Hangman comes out because you've actually been fucking martyred, right, for your spiritual gifts or for the light that you have. And so I wonder if like this halo around the Hangman is also like trying to confirm that. It's like, I don't know, how do I want to say this? For some of you, I feel like I'm getting this vision of like you being young and constantly told to like stop crying or stop complaining or like stop being a babe. It's like something like that. Or like trying to advocate for yourself and going like, hey, that hurt me, or that was wrong, or that's not fair. And then like being dismissed to the extent that like there's a part of self that cannot recognize or accept when you actually have been like perpetrated upon, or when you have been victimized, or like not being it's like nobody wants to see themselves as a victim. Obviously you're like, I'm a survivor, I'm a whatever, but like nobody wants to take on that identity. But sometimes it's like, no, actually, like you've been a victim of a crime, dude. Like this is crazy, like something bad happened to you, like this is not fair, like this isn't right. It doesn't mean you have to be this like bleeding heart for yourself forever, but it's like sometimes it's important to recognize when like you are being fucked with. Otherwise you could start taking like accountability for other people's like misdeeds, and that's a way that you can accidentally try to like work off other people's like karma for them. Look at that, the 5 of Wands, that came out really quickly. Yeah, not realizing hung up because someone else is like, I don't know, keeping you in like this perpetual like one-sided battle. Again, it's almost like, again, that purity card, it's like, I don't understand what's wrong, what's the matter, like just really like not what did I do? Where is my inner blockage? It's like, dude, you don't have fucking inner blockage. You have an outer blockage, and it's this bitch right here. Pardon my French. Parlez-vous français? The Lovers, Gemini. That's so annoying. Again, there's something about who or whatever this feminine is. She saw you as the mountain between her and the King of Wands. That's not the case. The reason there was a mountain between her and the King of Wands is because the King of Wands wanted there to be a mountain between them. Period. But she saw it as your fault, which again is even sick, because it's even sicker because you were either a child, like when this happened, or like you were so naive, you were such a novice. Like, even if whatever this happened occurred when you weren't like a literal legal child, you were either like so fucking young, unaware, inexperienced, right? And like whatever this was, that you wouldn't have even like you wouldn't have even noticed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, she saw you as the mountain in between her and the King of Wands, when in reality, the reason there was a mountain is because the King of Wands wanted there to be a mountain. And with the angel above, right, again, with these fire wings, also, like, the divine wanted there to be, like, fate itself wanted there to be a mountain in between them. So this is also who or whatever this Five of Swords character, this feminine, represents. She also has like control issues as well, like trying to force connection where there isn't meant to be, and also where there doesn't want to be. Like, it doesn't matter that the King of Wands in flesh or spirit doesn't want to be with her. It doesn't matter, because she wants to be with the King of Wands, and that's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter if the divine doesn't want them together. Hey, Five of Swords lady, this isn't good for you, like, stop it. Doesn't matter. And so because she assumed that you were the mountain in between her and who or whatever this King of Wands represents, she decided to be the mountain in between you and like your pathway. Yeah. And so to clarify, the King of Wands and the Page of Pentacles, it's the Eight of Wands, right? So this is an energy that was meant to help push you forward, get you to the next place. Also, it's a card of like communication, and also like really passionate and enthusiastic communication. And this, again, this King of Wands, he has this like drum line with the, he has this drum line energy, which makes me think that they were like your cheerleader in a way. So I'm looking at the King of Wands, the Darkness card, the Page of Pentacles, and the Five of Swords in that little, like the little quadrant. And to clarify, we have the Nine of Pentacles coming out. Stability, independence, success. Again, you being like your most abundant version of self, like on your own, right? As just like an independent woman, person, human being in the world. And here you have a hawk, right? You have a hawk instead of this little bluebird as well. This Knight of Pentacles also speaks to more privacy, right? Like she's in like her own courtyard. She's in her own oasis. There is this big bush behind her that acts almost like a fence, right? So there's also a sense of privacy here. And this card is all lit up yellow in the back. In tarot, when the background is yellow, that speaks to mental acuity, freshness, intelligence, being sharp, being positive. Oh. All right, let's look at the next quadrant. The Darkness, the Knight of Pentacles, this Five of Swords bitch, and you as this Nine of Swords being very overexposed. The Hermit, again, it's intended to hide you and also to hide your light. The Hermit is also a teacher. He's a philosopher. So this was also kind of intended to keep like other people, I would say, from seeing like how talented you were or how smart you were. The Hermit is commonly and more modernly associated with Mercury, but traditionally it was associated with Saturn and like the father of time. So there was also something here about trying to like, again, you look so young, and I was talking about maybe glamour magic. You look so young and like just gorgeous here, that there could have been something about trying to literally like make something take so long, stress you out so much, make you feel so lonely that it's like the effects of Saturn hit. It's like you grow tired, you grow old. It's like your beauty wanes. It's like stress. You know how stress like wears on the body. It just like wear you out and like make you wait it out to like your old fucking age. And again, in this Nine of Pentacles, it's like spring and summer energy here. It's like you're covered in fruit. Like that's harvest season, right? But the Hermit is sat here on top of a snowy mountain, right? Where it's cold, where nothing's growing. Yeah, the High Priestess. The High Priestess is a gatekeeper, intentionally trying to block you out. Okay, so quickly, I want to go back up to this crone energy and this Nine of Pentacles. I want to see what the crone's doing here. The Six of Swords. So I like this. I like this a lot. This also may confirm that for a lot of you, this is actually like an ancestor energy, because the Six of Swords, for me, is the card of psychopomps. So mediumship, which indicates human spiritual connection. This is clarifying. So again, she's trying to help you move through like this, maybe this particular eclipse lunar cycle, in order to get you from point A to point B out of the rocky waters of like the false high priestess. Again, there's even something of her being able to like hijack your intuition sometimes, or give you like false signals, something like that. That feels relevant for some of you, but to move you into smoother waters. Again, the feminine here, see how the masculine is pushing the boat? That's the King of Wands. But the feminine here and the inner child, by the way, are both cloaked. They're hidden, like they cannot be seen. There's also like a barrier like in front of them of these swords. Swords are obviously like thoughts and communication, but they're also weapons, right? The suit of wands and the suit of swords, they possess weapons. Cups and pentacles, they are tools. They're offerings. Wands and swords are weapons. So there's also something about like a barrier of protection being kind of placed around you, by the crone and the King of Wands as they kind of ferry you, like the boatman through the underworld, like to smoother waters, like to the other side. It's clear that like you can't, how do I want to say this? It's clear. I remember we were talking about those three options, of getting down the long dark path, and one of them was she just gets the fuck on, right? She's not getting off and on, like she's not getting off this path. So and again, there seems to be still a gap here in either your experience or your education, so you cannot traverse it alone. You need an escort, is just how just how I'm seeing it. There's a card sticking out of this other deck. I want to look at it. You need an escort, you need an emperor, you need the King of Wands. And that is exactly what's happening. So the crone is helping the inner priestess within, because again, there's a blockage in your intuition. So there's an aspect of your own higher self, there's an aspect of your own intuition that you cannot properly like tap into because of this long-standing blockage here. I'm seeing birds like diverting their migration course and then like going a different direction. That's part of the thing here. If there wasn't a gap, or if there wasn't a blockage, and again, had you been able to have certain experiences or move up the ladder in the way that you were originally intended to, there wouldn't be these gaps. You would have that experience, you would have that education, you would have that wherewithal. I want to say like a lot of this, and I'm not just trying to like let you off the hook, but like from what I'm seeing, I've been doing this for a decade. This is not your fault. And if you knew that this was a fucking problem before, you would have done everything you could to fix it, right? I'm sure you would have gotten your ass on Google, or you would have phoned a friend. Like you would have figured it out. 108 on the clock as I say that. So I just also want to say that just so like you're nice to yourself, like this is not your fault. But because there are these gaps in your education, because there are these gaps in your experience, because there are these gaps in the just exposure, wherewithal, right? Sometimes you don't recognize stuff because you've never seen it before, or you saw it, but it was never explained to you. You need an escort. And so the crone is helping to, and I did, what reading was it? Maybe it was Aquarius's. It was either Aquarius's reading, February monthly reading. I'm going to link all the monthly readings for February on the Patreon. I'm going to link them in the description box for you. But it also might have been one of the earth signs, like he was either Virgo or Taurus, were like really intense. And one of the songs that had come through was It's Raining Men by the Weather Girls. And there's a line in it talking about like, Mother Nature, she's a single woman too. She took up to heaven and she did what she had to do. She talked to all the angels and she rearranged the sky so that each and every woman can find like the perfect guy. That's what this feels like. It's like the crone is like Mother Nature. It's like she went up, she took up the heavens, she's rearranging the sky so that way everyone can have the perfect guy. And for you, that's the King of Wands, to allow the King of Wands in to, because it's like, who the fuck's gonna tell her no? This bitch is not gonna tell. She's no match for this crone. Whoever, she's no one's gonna tell her no. She's the big cheese around here. Let's get that clear. So she's sending in the King of Wands. She's sending in the Emperor to act as your escort. I almost even wonder if this Emperor is maybe a second figure, like the King of Wands ferries you over. And then the king, and then the emperor, like, I almost see someone, like, taking your hand as you, like, step out of the boat. Like, you were always meant to end up with the emperor. Whether this is a guide, whether it's a person, a partner. That's significant here. But that's the Six of Wands. So, again, she might literally be a living ancestor up in the ether, or either a goddess energy, because that psychopomp gives me like deity work, or it gives me my great grandma. Like, it's that type of energy. And so she using the, because what do they call eclipses? They call them like they call eclipse season, like the astrologers are going to be in the comments, like they call them, it's like they're like king makers, or like the fall of kings, or it's like they have that kind of energy to it. And so I feel like this crone energy is using the chaos of eclipse season to find openings and loopholes in order to open up access points for this King of Wands to come in, ferry you over to the other side, where perhaps the King of Emperor, the Emperor can kind of take you, chariot, can kind of let you off the boat and like establish you in this new place. There's another card sticking out of the middle. What is it? The Ace of Cups, a new beginning. Wow. And here it's almost like you take the bowl of fruit off your head and then it turns into butterflies. It turns into all of these pollinators. Butterflies also represent transformation, and they're yellow again. So this is kind of rewriting the sky, like rewriting the timeline. Oh, for you. I just flicked a card right off the top of the deck. I didn't even mean to do that. What is it? More butterflies. Card number 14. Again, this is a significant card. And again, the Emperor is 4 and the Ace is a 1. And then we have 14. Again, so 4, 1, 1, 4. These are really significant numbers for you. So there also might be something about April 14th that might be significant here as well. And here, now we have a blue butterfly, a blue monarch butterfly. So maybe you're seeing blue monarch butterflies as well. And I actually like this because this feels like a high priestess energy. Like if we were to look into the ethers at like what you as the high priestess look like in spirit, this is what you look like. This is not what you look like. This is what you look like. So again, there was also something about like your intuition or like your inner voice being like hijacked sometimes, because they look way more similar. They look like the same fucking character to me. Whereas these look much more similar and aligned to me. So I feel like this is a story that like is likely to continue. It's likely to continue. And so perhaps we'll check back in a few days or next week, or we'll keep it going on Patreon or whatever. I'm not sure. But I do feel like I'm meant to, we're an hour and 15 minutes. I do feel like we're meant to leave it here. This was one, crazy, and my ears are ringing. Oh my god. This was a wild story. I really hope that this fucking helped you. Like if this is your story, I really hope that this clicked some dots for you and like really reaffirmed it. It was also really fun to do like a long reading like this and just like settle in and just like ride it till the wheels fall off. For so long I have been doing like TikTok short form tarot readings and like channel messages. So it's like actually really nice. And I obviously do, when I do like client readings, like if I do like the wildflower readings, those take me 2.5 hours. Like I'm sitting for 2.5 hours channeling the energy, typing up your little PDF. But to do like kind of like a collective reading, like a nice long one, and just kind of like sit here and do it, that was really just juicy and satisfying for me. So thank you for that and staying with me if you made it to the end. I love you. Thank you for being here. Again, go check the Patreon for your February monthly readings. I am open for personal readings for the end of February, and my March books are open. So if you're interested in having a one-on-one with me, all my readings are like email readings now. So book that. All Patreon members do get 25% off all readings. So that might be something you're interested in as well. And be sure to stay in touch. Get on my email list. I send out Monday little newsletters, just little downloads for the week. My Substack, where I do other kind of like feminist, spiritual, pop culture type of writings. I'm all over the place. So find me somewhere. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Be sure to like and comment and subscribe. I have to remind you guys to do that because I forget sometimes to do that. But please like the video and share it and subscribe. Share it with someone that you think it could help. I love you. Goodbye.